the same story every year, isn't it? You pull a succulent ripe beetroot from the garden bed, firmly grasp its lush, green top, twist it off, and toss it onto the compost heap. Sound familiar? But what if I told you that you just threw away the most valuable part of your harvest? Today, we're going to talk about beet greens, the very part most people consider trash. But in reality, they're a true treasure, hidden in plain sight. Stay with us, and you'll discover how to transform these garden scraps into culinary masterpieces and a powerhouse of vitamins. Our ancestors were far more practical. For them, there was no separate concept of tops and roots. The entire plant was used, and every part was valued. This tradition of discarding edible and beneficial greens is a relatively recent development, emerging as our focus shifted solely to root vegetables. We've forgotten old recipes and a wise approach to food. It's time to change that. So, drumroll, please. Today, we're finally revealing the greatest secret of our garden. Our star of the show, the most valuable and undeservedly overlooked part of your harvest, is none other than beet greens. That's right, you heard me correctly. I'm talking about those vibrant dark green leaves with their almost ruby red veins that so beautifully crown each beet. Picture this. You've just pulled a firm, juicy beet from the earth. And what do you do with its glorious green crown? Most likely, you do what 99% of home gardeners do. You twist off the greens at the base and toss them aside. Best case scenario, they end up in the compost bin. But at that very moment, you're making a huge mistake, depriving yourself of a true powerhouse of vitamins and an exciting new flavour experience. We've grown accustomed to seeing beet greens as merely an afterthought, a humble appendage to the root vegetable. But in reality, they are a standalone, nutrient-packed, and incredibly versatile ingredient. They are your garden's very own green caviar, hiding in plain sight. So let's collectively shed the trash label and discover the delicious treasure we've been throwing away all this time. Let's uncover the biggest mistake many gardeners make, a deeply ingrained misconception passed down through generations. Many mistakenly believe that lush, thick beet greens are a bad thing. They think the foliage robs the root, drawing all the sap and nutrients away from the developing beet. Some even go as far as to suggest that to get larger beets, you should continually remove or prune the greens throughout the growing season. This couldn't be further from the truth. In fact, it's quite the opposite. Beet greens are not a parasite. They are the plant's very own food factory. It's within these leaves that the miraculous process of photosynthesis takes place. They act like tiny solar panels, capturing sunlight and converting it into energy. This energy, in the form of sugars and essential nutrients, is then transported downwards into the root, where it's stored and accumulates. So remember this simple rule. The lusher and healthier the foliage, the more energy the plant has to form a large and sweet root. That vigorous green canopy isn't competing with your beet. It's guaranteeing a bountiful harvest. By stripping away those leaves, you're essentially unplugging the power plant from the factory, depriving your beets of essential nutrition and effectively starving them. So, celebrate that lush foliage. Don't be afraid of it. Now let's finally confront the big dragon guarding this culinary treasure, the most popular myth about beet greens. Many wrinkle their noses saying, "Ugh, they're bitter and tough as old boot leather." Throw that thought right out of your mind. This myth likely comes from attempts to cook old, overgrown leaves, which genuinely can be a bit coarse. But in reality, the taste of young beet greens is a true culinary revelation. They're incredibly tender and delicate. They most resemble delicate spinach or their close relative, Swiss chard, which after all is essentially leafy beet. There's none of that overpowering bitterness many people fear. Instead, you'll find a light, almost imperceptible sweetness and a pleasant earthy note that only enhances their freshness. And what about those bright, juicy stems? Don't throw them away either. They're crunchy, firm, and taste like the root vegetable itself, but in a milder, more tender form. So, forget about bitterness. Properly chosen beet greens are a sophisticated and delicious ingredient that will add new flavours and vibrant colours to your dishes. And now, let's dive into what truly makes beet greens a treasure. It's time to talk about their incredible benefits. Forget those exotic, pricey superfoods from health stores. The most authentic, powerful, and crucially, completely free superfood is thriving right there in your own garden. And now, prepare for a fascinating revelation. When it comes to the concentration of many essential vitamins and minerals, beet greens don't just hold their own against the root vegetable itself. They often surpass it by a significant margin. Just think about it. We value the beetroot so much for its benefits, yet we systematically discard its most valuable and nutritious part, sending it straight to the compost pile. It's like buying an orange, eating the peel, and then tossing out the juicy pulp. Beet greens aren't just another leafy green. They are a natural multivitamin complex, a powerful cocktail of fibre, antioxidants, and other beneficial bioactive compounds. Incorporating these greens into your diet can strengthen your immune system, support heart and cardiovascular health, improve vision, and even aid in preventing many serious diseases. And all this incredible bounty is right there, hidden in plain sight. So, are you ready to examine this treasure under a microscope? Let's kick off our discussion with a vitamin that often flies under the radar, yet plays an absolutely crucial role in our health. We're talking about vitamin K. When it comes to vitamin K, beet greens aren't just a good source. They're an absolute, undisputed powerhouse. Just one serving of cooked beet greens can provide several 100% of your daily recommended intake for this vitamin. So why is vitamin K so vital for us? First off, it plays a critical role in blood clotting. It helps our body quickly stop bleeding by forming a clot at the site of an injury. Secondly, and this is particularly important as we age, vitamin K is essential for strong, healthy bones. It helps calcium be properly absorbed and directed specifically to bone tissue, rather than accumulating in our arteries. Thus, regular consumption of beet greens is a natural and incredibly powerful way to prevent osteoporosis and support overall cardiovascular health. Just imagine, this humble green marvel from your garden works better than many over-the-counter supplements. Isn't that a compelling reason to stop throwing away such a nutritional treasure? Our next vitamin powerhouse is tucked away in beet greens. That's vitamin A, also known as beta-carotene. We've all grown up hearing that carrots are essential for good eyesight. Well, get ready for a surprise. Beet greens contain many, and I mean many, times more vitamin A than the beetroot itself. They can easily give carrots a run for their money, but vitamin A isn't just an eye vitamin. While it's crucial for retinal health and helps us see clearly, especially in low light conditions, its functions extend far beyond just vision. It's a powerful antioxidant protecting our cells from free radical damage and thus slowing down the aging process. Furthermore, vitamin A is a key guardian of our immune system. It strengthens the body's protective barriers, especially mucous membranes, making us less vulnerable to viruses and bacteria. So, a salad or soup featuring beet greens during cold and flu season isn't just delicious, it's incredibly smart. You're getting powerful support for both your vision and immunity, straight from the garden. Vitamins get all the glory. But what about minerals? This is where beet greens truly shine. They're like an underground mine, bringing invaluable elements to the surface. Let's start with iron. We all know that beets are often recommended for anemia. Well, here's a crucial fact. The leaves contain significantly more iron than the root itself. This makes beet greens an excellent food for maintaining healthy hemoglobin levels and preventing iron deficiency. Next up, potassium and magnesium. This dynamic duo is often called the heart minerals. Potassium helps regulate blood pressure and heart rhythm, and magnesium, it's our key anti-stress mineral. It relaxes blood vessels and heart muscle, relieves tension, and improves sleep. In today's fast-paced, stress-filled world, magnesium deficiency is incredibly common. And here you have such an accessible and natural source right at your fingertips. So, by adding beet greens to your diet, you're not just eating your veggies. You're providing your body with essential minerals for heart health, strong blood vessels, a robust nervous system, and sustained high energy levels. Let's turn our attention to youth and beauty. What gives beets and their greens their vibrant, rich colour? It's more than just pigments. These vibrant hues come from powerful natural protectors of our bodies. Antioxidants. Beet leaves, especially their bright red or yellow veins and stalks, contain unique compounds called betalains. Betalains are a rare group of antioxidants found in a limited number of plants, with beets being one of their primary sources. What makes them so remarkable? They possess potent anti-inflammatory properties. Chronic inflammation in the body underpins many serious diseases, from heart issues to arthritis. Betalains help extinguish these internal fires. Furthermore, like all antioxidants, they wage a relentless battle against free radicals, unstable molecules that damage our cells and accelerate the aging process. Simply put, by incorporating beet greens into your diet, you help your body stay younger and healthier at a cellular level for longer. It's a true elixir of youth, growing right in your garden, not sold in an expensive jar. Enough theory, let's dive into the good stuff. Practice. So what amazing things can you whip up with this green treasure in your kitchen? Many, when first faced with beet greens, feel a bit lost and aren't sure where to start. But really, the simplest approach is often the best. You can use beet greens in dozens of different ways, and each one is fantastic in its own right. There's no need to come up with complicated, exotic recipes. To begin, just take the most straightforward approach and use them as you would any other leafy green. Think of them as a free and even more nutritious alternative to spinach or Swiss chard. They're perfect for sautéing, boiling, stir-frying, and even enjoying raw. Beet greens are a true kitchen workhorse, ready to adapt to almost any dish, from a simple side to an elaborate pie. The key is to set aside any preconceptions and let your culinary creativity run wild. Let's explore a few concrete, incredibly simple ideas. Alright, first up, here's the easiest, quickest and most straightforward way to truly savour the pure flavour of beet greens. Treat them just like you would spinach. It's the ideal introduction if you're new to them. All you'll need is a pan, a drizzle of oil, and a couple of garlic cloves. The process couldn't be simpler. Thoroughly wash the leaves and their stems. You can chop the stems a bit finer and either tear the leaves by hand or cut them into large strips. Heat a little olive oil or butter in your pan, then add the minced garlic. As soon as it becomes fragrant, usually after just about 30 seconds, add the chopped stems to the pan first. Sauté them for a couple of minutes until they start to soften. Next, add the leaves. They'll look like an enormous pile, but don't worry. In just about a minute, the heat will make them wilt down significantly, shrinking their volume by a lot. Continue cooking, stirring occasionally, for another 2 to 3 minutes. Finally, season with salt and pepper to taste. And that's it. You've got a fantastic, tender, and incredibly healthy side dish ready. It's perfect alongside fish, chicken, or even as a light meal on its own. You won't find an easier way. My second idea takes us back to our roots, to traditional cuisine. Let's not forget about soups. Our ancestors most often used beet greens in soups. The most famous dish, whose name truly speaks for itself, is, of course, botvinia. This ancient, cold summer soup, made with kvass, traditionally includes boiled beet greens and other fresh greens. But if classic botvinia seems a bit too complicated, don't worry. There are easier options. For example, you can make a light, summery green soup, similar to sorrel soup. Simply add chopped beet greens to your broth, along with potatoes and other vegetables. They'll give the soup a pleasant, slightly sweet flavour and a beautiful rich colour. They cook very quickly, so add them right at the end, just 5 to 7 minutes before the soup is done. You can also add finely chopped beet greens to your regular borscht. They won't just enrich the flavour, they'll also make it even healthier. Beet leaves are perfect companions to their root vegetable relative, the beet itself, creating a complete harmony of taste and nutrition in every bowl. So feel free to experiment with these soup ideas. Get ready, because this next idea is perfect for anyone who loves fresh, crisp flavours and textures. Don't forget that tender, young beet greens make an incredible base for a salad. And the best part, they're perfect for using raw so you can preserve all those vital nutrients. They're just as versatile and delicious as popular salad greens like arugula or spinach, and nutritionally, they might even outshine them. When selecting beet greens for your salad, always opt for the youngest, smallest leaves. These are the most tender and offer the sweetest flavour. You can use them whole or simply tear them by hand. So, what pairs beautifully with beet greens? They're truly made for gastronomic duos. Try this classic combination: fresh beet greens, crumbled soft cheese, like feta or a mild goat cheese, a handful of crunchy walnuts, and a sweet counterpoint. Think orange segments or a scattering of fresh berries. For the dressing, keep it light to avoid overpowering the delicate flavour of the greens. A simple vinaigrette made with good olive oil, a squeeze of fresh lemon juice, a touch of honey, and a pinch of salt would be perfect. The result is a salad that's not only incredibly flavourful and beautiful, but also surprisingly satisfying and incredibly good for you. It's the ideal choice for a light dinner or a wholesome snack. Here's an idea that's guaranteed to impress your guests. Have you ever tried making pesto with something other than basil, like arugula or parsley? Well, let me tell you, pesto made from beet greens is absolutely incredible. It's a vibrant, rich, and truly unique sauce that could easily become your new culinary signature. The recipe is incredibly simple. Just take a classic Genovese pesto recipe and swap out the basil for beet greens. You'll need a large bunch of fresh, well-washed beet greens. Place them in a food processor, add a handful of pine nuts or walnuts, a couple of garlic cloves, grated parmesan, salt, and start blending. Gradually drizzle in good quality olive oil until you reach your desired consistency. The flavour of this pesto is wonderfully unique. It's milder and less pungent than classic basil pesto, with a subtle, pleasant, earthy undertone. And the colour? Absolutely fantastic. A deep, vibrant emerald green. This sauce is perfect for pasta, delicious spread on bruschetta, great mixed into salads, or even as a marinade for chicken or fish. It's a fantastic way to use up beet greens, preserve them for later, and really impress everyone with your culinary skills. Let's move on to baked goods. Yes, you heard me correctly. Beet greens are simply the perfect filling. Juicy, tender, with a mild flavour, they are perfectly suited for a variety of pies, casseroles, and even dumplings or pierogi. They bring not just nutritional value, but also incredible succulence to any dish. The easiest way to prepare this filling is much like you would spinach. For this, finely chop the greens and sauté them lightly in a pan with onions until they soften and excess moisture is released. Then, this mixture can be combined with cottage cheese, feta, or any other brie cheese. Add an egg as a binder, along with some fresh herbs and spices to taste. This filling is perfect for Ossetian pies. For Greek spanakopita, simply swap the spinach for beet greens, or for traditional pastries made with yeast or puff pastry. And if you incorporate these greens into a quiche filling or an omelette, your dish will truly come alive with new flavours. It's hearty, incredibly delicious, and allows you to subtly sneak healthy greens into a dish that even the pickiest eaters will happily devour. This idea is perfect for anyone serious about their health, who loves a vitamin-packed start to the day and isn't afraid to try new things. If you're a fan of green smoothies and shakes, then beet greens absolutely have to make their way into your blender. They'll be a fantastic and incredibly nutritious addition to your morning drink. No need to fear, the beet flavour won't overpower your drink. On the contrary, the leaves will lend a lovely silky texture and a subtle, almost imperceptible sweetness to your smoothie. At the same time, they'll supercharge your drink with a massive dose of chlorophyll, fibre, vitamins, and minerals. It's a true detox booster and a powerful energy source that will help you wake up and kickstart your day productively. To make this smoothie, simply grab a handful of well-washed young beet greens, add a banana for sweetness and creamy texture, an apple or pear, and a bit of cucumber for freshness. You might also want to toss in a spoonful of chia or flax seeds for extra nutritional benefits. Pour in water, plant-based milk or natural yogurt, then blend until smooth. The result is a vibrant, beautiful, and incredibly healthy drink that you'll genuinely enjoy, knowing you're giving your body nothing but the best. Alright, so we've established that beet greens are not only delicious, but also packed with nutrients. But there's another crucial practical aspect: how to properly harvest and store them to maximize their freshness. It comes down to a few simple, yet very important rules. Firstly, when you're harvesting your beets, avoid twisting off the greens by hand. This crude method damages both the leaves and the root. Instead, use a sharp knife or garden shears to carefully cut the leaves, leaving small stems about 1 to 2 centimeters long attached to the root. This clean cut will heal much faster, allowing the beet to store better and retain its moisture. Secondly, and this is a crucial point, store the greens and the root vegetables separately. Never put beets with their greens still attached into the refrigerator. Even after being cut, the greens continue to actively transpire moisture, drawing it away from the root vegetable. As a result, both the leaves quickly wilt and the beet itself becomes soft and shriveled. Once separated, the greens should be washed, lightly dried, and placed into a plastic bag, but don't seal it tightly. Alternatively, you can place them in a glass of water, much like a bouquet of herbs. Stored this way in the refrigerator, they'll remain fresh for several days. But how do you know which beet greens are the most delicious and nutritious? After all, not all leaves are created equal. Making the right choice is crucial for the success of your dish. And just like with any other leafy greens, freshness is the ultimate key here. First and foremost, pay close attention to the appearance of the leaves. They should be firm, plump, and vibrant, as if they were just picked from the garden. If the leaves are wilted or droopy, it's a clear sign that the beets have been sitting on the shelf for a while, and their greens have lost much of their moisture and beneficial properties. Next, consider the colour. It should be deep and rich, either bright green or with a beautiful reddish-purple hue, depending on the variety. Avoid any leaves with yellowing, dry edges or dark spots. These are telltale signs of wilting or plant disease. And of course, size matters. For salads and dishes where the greens are used raw, the youngest, smallest leaves from the centre of the rosette are best. They are the most tender and sweet. Larger, more mature leaves are excellent for soups, stews, or fillings, where they will be cooked. So, when you're selecting beets at the market, don't just look at the root vegetable itself. Pay attention to its hairdo. It will reveal much more about the product's freshness. Speaking of which, our discussion about beet greens today is just the tip of the iceberg. This no-waste approach to greens extends far beyond beets. In fact, our gardens are full of edible and incredibly nutritious greens that we mistakenly discard as waste, either out of ignorance or habit. Let's look at other root vegetables. Take young radish greens, for example. They have a pleasant, slightly peppery flavour, similar to the radish itself, or arugula. You can confidently add them to salads, cold soups, or other green dishes. And carrot tops, yes, in large quantities they can be bitter, but young, tender carrot fronds, used sparingly, can add an interesting, subtly parsley-like, herbaceous aroma to your meals. You can finely chop them and add them to salads, soups, or even make a fragrant pesto. The same goes for turnip greens, rutabaga greens, and even young kohlrabi leaves. Our ancestors regularly incorporated all these greens into their meals, understanding their true value. It wasn't just about economy. It was also a way to get maximum vitamins from every single plant. So next time you're walking past your garden beds, take a fresh look at familiar vegetables. You might just discover a whole world of new flavours. And finally, let's consider this from a purely practical, economic perspective. In an era of ever-increasing grocery costs, the ability to wisely utilise everything the earth provides becomes incredibly valuable. Beet greens are a perfect illustration of this thrifty wisdom. Just think about it. When you buy a fresh bunch of beets from the market or grocery store, still sporting their vibrant, fresh tops, you're essentially acquiring 2 complete items for the price of one. You have the root vegetable for borscht, vinaigrette, or roasting, and you've got a generous bundle of greens that, in terms of weight and volume, often rivals a bunch of spinach or lettuce, greens you typically pay extra for at the store. By discarding those greens, you're essentially tossing money into the bin. Yet these greens are perfect for a delicious side dish, a hearty soup, a fresh salad, or even as a savoury pie filling. This isn't just about saving money, it's smart, mindful consumption. You gain more food, more vital nutrients, and greater menu diversity, all without spending an extra dime. Wouldn't you agree that in today's world, that's a powerful argument to rethink some of our habits? And now for the biggest plot twist that will completely change how you see beet greens. We usually value beets for their health benefits, especially their iron content. Ready for this? Well, beet greens actually contain more iron than the root itself, and not just a little more. We're talking several times over. The same goes for calcium and vitamin A. So, essentially, we've been systematically tossing the most nutritious and valuable part of the plant into the compost bin, all while we've been eating the less beneficial root. This isn't just a cooking hack, it's a complete re-evaluation of the value of everyday ingredients. We've literally been throwing away a nutritional powerhouse. So, let's recap. Beet greens are not trash. They're an incredibly healthy, delicious, and versatile ingredient that's been unfairly overlooked. They surpass the root in nutritional value, are easy to prepare, and help you save money. Next time your hand reaches to toss those beautiful leaves, pause. Remember our video and give them a second life in your kitchen. Thanks for watching until the end. If you learned something new and useful, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on more gardening secrets. Now, a question for you. Have you ever tried cooking with beet greens? Or maybe you have a signature family recipe. Share it with us in the comments below. We'd love to read them.